Giving performance feedback. Feedback is transmitting information from one part of the system to another part to do corrective action or initiate new action built in the system itself. It helps to voice concerns to problems, to come to terms with his own feelings and understand his own motives and aspirations more clearly. In this lesson, we will discuss concepts, aspects, and issues related to feedback in organizations. It follows from the previous slide that after studying this lesson, you should be able to understand the concept and types of feedback, state the problems in feedback and need for feedback, enumerate the requisites of an effective feedback discussion, analyze the concept of performance counseling. Feedback can be of two types, namely positive and negative. Positive feedback includes information on both good and poor performance. It should be sincere and given only when it is deserved. If praise is given repeatedly and when it is not deserved, employees are not able to see when a change in direction may be required. Negative feedback includes information that performance has fallen short of accepted standards. The goal of providing negative feedback is to help employees improve their performance in the future. It is not to punish, embarrass, or chastise them. In order to improve performance, employees need feedback and also guidelines in reaching the next levels of performance. But the feedback has to be positive and corrective in nature. Feedback sessions can be uncomfortable and anxiety-provoking experience for both the parties. The appraiser can be apprehensive about discussing a negative evaluation with the appraisee. The same way, it becomes difficult for the appraisee to accept and digest negative feedback. Feedback session aims at development of appraisee as well as appraiser. Its importance lies in the benefits it has. To name a few, it helps the appraisee to realize his potential as a manager or a leader, and to understand himself, his strengths and his weaknesses. Provides him an opportunity to acquire more insight into his behavior and analyze the dynamics of such behavior, and makes him to have better understanding of the environment. Feedback effectiveness can be enhanced by ensuring timeliness, frequency, specificity, verifiability, consistency, privacy, consequences, description first, evaluation second, performance continuum, pattern identification, confidence in the employee, and advice and idea generation. Different types of feedback interviews are tell and sell, tell and listen, and problem solving. In tell and sell feedback interview, the supervisor tells the employee how good or bad the employee's performance has been and then attempts to persuade the employee to accept this judgment. The employee has no input into this evaluation. In the tell and listen approach to the feedback interview, the supervisor tells the employee what has been right and wrong with the employee's past performance, but then gives the employee a chance to react. The extent of subordinates' participation in the interview can vary widely. In problem-solving discussion, feedback is not directly communicated to the manager. The manager stimulates the managee to review performance and discuss opportunities and enabling factors as well as problems and hindering forces in his work context. Performance counseling is quite often misunderstood. It is wrongly interpreted as a process of correcting or controlling the employee behavior by giving him negative feedback in an assertive manner by his boss. Counseling aims at development of the counselee and helps him to realize his potential. It is a means and not an end in itself. Development does not occur just because there is counseling. Conditions are necessary for counseling are general climate of openness and mutuality, general helpful and emphatic attitude of management, sense of uninhibited participation by the subordinates in the performance review process, dialogic relationship in goal setting and performance review, focus on work-oriented behavior, focus on work-related problems and difficulties, and avoidance of discussion of salary and other rewards. Counseling is given by one who is senior to the other person in competence or in knowledge or in psychological expertise or in the hierarchical position in the organization. There are three main processes involved in counseling: communication, influencing, and helping. Now let us check if we have understood the various concepts discussed in this lesson clearly. Feedback is transmitting information from one part of the system to another part to do corrective action or initiate new action built in the system itself. Right or wrong? Right. In tell and listen feedback interview, the supervisor tells the employee how good or bad the employee's performance has been and then attempts to persuade the employee to accept his judgment. Right or wrong? Wrong. In problem-solving discussion feedback, the manager stimulates the managee to review performance and to discuss opportunities and enabling factors as well as problems and hindering forces in his work context. Right or wrong? Right. Before we end, let us briefly revise what we have studied till so far. Feedback is transmitting information from one part of the system to another part to do corrective action or initiate new action built in the system itself. Feedback is considered positive because it is with view to further development and improvement. Performance feedback provides information that helps employee to alter, change, and maintain or develop their skills, behaviors, and/or attitudes so that the organization continues to operate effectively. Good feedback includes information on both good and poor performance. Although most people are a lot more comfortable giving feedback on good performance than they are on poor performance, some guidelines must be followed when giving praise so that the feedback is useful in terms of future performance. It is only human to resist or resent judgmental proclamations, especially the unfavorable ones, even where these are accompanied by rational explanation. And it is natural that such resistance or resentment substantially blocks positive response. Feedback sessions can be uncomfortable and anxiety-provoking experience for both the parties. The appraiser can be apprehensive about discussing a negative evaluation with the appraisee. There are three different types of feedback interview: tell and sell, tell and listen, and problem solving. Performance counseling is quite often misunderstood. It is wrongly interpreted as a process of correcting or controlling the employee behavior by giving him negative feedback in an assertive manner by his boss. It is advisable to have performance counseling discussions quite frequently depending upon the needs of each appraisee and the time availability of the counselor. In fact, the more attention a manager pays to counseling his subordinates, the more time he is likely to gain in the long run as a result of improved capabilities of his subordinates. Counseling is a means and not an end in itself. Development does not occur just because there is counseling. Counseling could be an effective instrument in helping people integrate with their organization and have a sense of involvement and satisfaction.